Welcome to Toffee TV. We are here at the Liver Buildings, Everton's headquarters. I'm here with John Blaine from Everton Business Matters, Chairman of the Everton Shareholders Association and a regular on Toffee TV now, as he's here. John, we've just come out of a meeting with the PR manager of the People's Project. I've got the media release in front of me regarding the public consultation. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it. Everton Football Club has revealed the results, the first phase of its formal public consultation into plans to develop a new stadium at Bramley Moor Dock and a community-led legacy project at Goodison Park. The key message that we've taken from it really is what the CEO, Denise Barrett-Baxendale, had to say. These results are more than a vote of confidence in our plans. They show people recognise the transformational impact our stadium will have on North Liverpool and indeed the positive effect it will have on the wider city region. A new stadium will unlock a unique opportunity for our city region by delivering a £1 billion boost to the economy, 15,000 jobs and an estimated 1.5 million new visitors to the city, as well as the regeneration of North Liverpool, including a community-led legacy at Goodison Park. That's the key statement really out of the whole media release. It's a public consultation that was taken by over 20,000 people, which is a good sample size. So what are your thoughts, John, your early thoughts on what we've just seen?
I think probably worth saying to the people that how long did it take you to read that? A minute or something? And it perhaps take you 2 minutes to read the whole press release, but we had an hour with a PR manager and they gave us all the segmentation of all the people who did the survey, who visited the roadshow and all that good stuff. And I think the key there, and I think you used the word key, is overwhelming support. And it's worth, one of the segments, by the way, was non-Everton fans, which you might gather a significant percentage of those non-Everton fans were Liverpool fans. And if anything, they're as enthusiastic, if not more so, than the Evertonians are, because of course we are a little bit jaundiced by it being a stadium, and we want to know what it looks like, and we want to know what the capacity is going to be, and what they just see is the huge kickstart it would give to the regeneration of that part of the city. So yeah, I mean, I think the messages are what we would expect. Yeah. But and maybe that expectation, until the results come out, you think it might go the other way, mightn't it? But it didn't.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the high 90s, we've got some numbers here. 94% agree Bramley Moor Dock is an appropriate site for Everton's new stadium. 95% agree with the proposed uses of Goodison Park for a community-led legacy. 95% agree on a new stadium being used on non-match days to host other events. 97% think it's important that Everton stays in Liverpool. 86% they think it's important that Everton remains in North Liverpool. I mean, they are quite high percentages of what I would suggest a really good sample size.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I didn't realise you were a sad stato.
Well, you know, we're just giving a little bit of.
But I mean, people can go and look at, at the press release itself, and I wrote it down actually, because the club will do a follow-up, and what they've said is that, well, the People's Project website will have been updated at 4 o'clock, it's 25 to 5 now, so I guess people are already looking at that. Those people who've registered for this and done provided the club with an email address, they'll probably get an email today. A brochure will drop on the doorstep of the 50,000 households who got notified through snail mail last time, and of course there's press releases, which means it will splatter itself all over the media. No doubt it's on Sky Sports or will be. So yeah, a bit of a blanket bombing of the outcome, and the key message is overwhelming support. So I think it's fabulous, really.
I mean, it's important to stress as well, there's going to be another public consultation in the summer, early summer hopefully, and obviously that'll be the next stage of the project. And maybe, what would you say to people who potentially underwhelmed by this as a release of information?
Yeah. I mean, social media no doubt will be saying, is that it?
Yeah.
We've waited all this time and that's it, the bleeding obvious. It was one tweet I saw, so that was you, well done. Yeah. but things being obvious intuitively, i.e. that's what I would have expected to come out, might be what you expect, and clearly it's what the guy who tweeted thought. But until you actually go out to 50,000, 100,000 people or whatever, and say, come and tell us your real thoughts. And those people have taken the time to do the survey and actually lots of people took the 2/3 of the people who did the survey actually put some free-form narrative in there as well. So 2/3 of people taking the time, not just to say, oh yes to question 3, but to explain why they said yes, is really impressive. And it is a process, it's part of a process. The football club told us back in January, was it last year really, when we started with the Dan Meese thing, then we had a bit of a false start, when a big period of radio silence, then when we kicked off in November, the People's Project proper, they said, here's our timeline of what we're going to do and when we're going to do it. And this, each time we hit a milestone, and we satisfy that milestone, should build confidence in people that it really is going to happen. So the next milestone after this one is that, well, probably phase 2 of the public consultation, which is when people, sadly, if you're waiting on images and and confirmations of capacity and things like that, that's not going to come till the summer.
No, I mean the other thing as well was.
But that's part of the plan.
That's part of the plan.
That's not a surprise. It's not,
I mean, the biggest thing is following the plan, like you said, because we have had a couple of false starts, and there'll be people out there, rightly so as well, who will still be raising, their eyebrows or rolling their eyes at this because there isn't anything meaningful in their eyes what they're seeing. But the data we've just shown was very meaningful, I would suggest, in terms of the people who turned up, the people who came out to vote, the non-Evertonians, the non-football fans, which there was a segment of them in there who'd voted positively on the stadium. So as an Evertonian who'd seen the King's Dock not happen, and then there was talks about Walton Hall Park and Kirby and blah, 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 you can forgive people for being a little bit bored with the process, if you like. But what I would say to this one, and I'm guessing you'll be of the same view, is that this is further down the line than any of those projects.
I think well, I'm not sure whether it is further down the line.
Okay, that's what I think.
We might have thought that King's Dock we got within a day of it happening.
But certainly the most recent times.
Absolutely, and what we're clearly trying to do here is follow a plan. And as we all would if we engage with the football club, say, well, if you say you're going to do something, do it. And that's what the club have said, whether we like it or not. If you're people who are enthusiastic and you really want to see images and things like that, ditto, and we can perhaps just about see the dock out that window behind the camera. But they said they were going to do a public consultation. They did it. They got a huge response. Something like, I don't know, depends which numbers you look at, but it's not less than 10 times more than Spurs had when they did it.
Well, I mean, that's incredible, isn't it?
And I think in their planning application, they might have only used maybe 1/100th of what we've got, and the key here, I think, is that not all the detail is going to be shown to everyone right now.
No.
I'm sure lots and lots and lots of it will come out in the planning process, so we'll see those things. But the degree of granularity that the club has of not just what did people think, but what age groups were they, where do they live, are they Evertonians, are they not Evertonians, are they even not football fans, why do they think it should happen, and all that stuff breaking down across multiple segments. I think it's a rich pool of data that the club actually could use for other things as well, be it marketing or whatever. But yes, I mean, the PR manager did a good job when we were talking to him for an hour. Anyone who knows me knows I can ask some awkward questions. He didn't answer all of them, but the ones he did answer were okay. So I think there should be confidence there that we're on a journey and we're on track.
And then as far as moving forward, what can we expect for this second public, consultation? For people that were saying out there, well, why are we having another one then if we've just had one?
I think because clearly what the football club has said, and we'll talk about other stakeholders in a minute, but they said that the public consultation itself would provide input to the next stage in the sense of maybe it will influence the design, maybe it will influence some other things. Clearly the club also has to talk to other stakeholders. That's a euphemism for those organisations who might try to stop this, be it the planning committees or the council, very unlikely those two, hopefully, but UNESCO, Historic England, those sorts of organisations. So they've got to engage with them as well, and get their comfort. And I guess if you use English Historic England as an example, they'll be really concerned whether it enhances the dock area, whether it detracts from it, or whatever. So when all that's done, and if you will, the formal bodies have give it their rubber stamp, then I think the club will be confident enough to show us what it looks like. It's going to be 52,000, get over it, that's what it's going to be by the looks of it. We can talk later about whether it can be upgraded or not, and as you just said offline, the 62,000 depends on safe standing, legislation and all those sorts of things. So you've got all these variables happening, but we're still going to submit a planning application this year. So
do you think it'll be a planning application for 52,000? There'll be no, in your opinion, because that's all it is at the minute, because you haven't been told anything else.
Absolutely, and that's what Colin Chong said.
It'll just be 52,000.
Yeah, that's what Colin Chong said in the last press release type stuff. That it's 52 at an absolute maximum of 62, but that will be subject to separate planning and obviously any potential changes in legislation. And the clear indication there is that perhaps excluding 2,000 or 3,000, personal view, it might end up as 55, but hey ho. But apart from that, the rump of that increase up to 62 is from safe standing.
I mean, for me personally, for that, I think it'd be fantastic for our stadium to have that, not only just to push the capacity up, but to have that facility in our ground. And
well, I think I think it's probably fair to say, and shoot me down if you think so, but I think it's guaranteed that we'll have standing. It's just what the ratio of standing or seated to standing will be. So the worst case scenario, from what you just said you want, is that the legislation allows for a 1-to-1 ratio. Therefore, the capacity of the stadium will be 52 full stop, whether there's people standing or not. If it allows higher ratios, then it could go as high as 62. And that's fundamentally what Colin Chong said.
Just very quickly, what's your feeling on the ratios? What do you think, what you're hearing? Because I know you've been involved with the safe, you've certainly been to safe standing road shows and stuff like that. And I know you speak to people who are very, at the forefront of trying to get that legislation changed. You think, what's your gut feeling with it?
I speak to people like John Darch, and the safe standing road show, as you say, is something which, if you can see it, it's well worth it. Indeed, Shareholders Association did a forum on it at the Winslow, so people could have gone and physically seen what these things look like. John's view is what will really happen is that the legislation will change, which will allow, clearly safe standing is allowed. Make it allowed, and then the legislation will probably divest the final decisions to local safety groups. So that might mean it's a stadium by stadium basis. If you look at Borussia Dortmund, for example, they go up to like 1 to 2. So that yellow wall, going back to our -1 chief exec, which inspired the designated home end at Bramley Moor. The yellow wall has ratios of 1 to 2. Now, clearly, in this country, we might have some aversions around that, and there will be politicians who are concerned about cramped and people stood together and all that. And they may just be like the audience; they don't know what it really means.
But then that's about education,
and that's about education. So I think maybe a ratio 1.5 might turn out to be 1 to 1.5. Might be closer to what actually pans out the other end. It'd be quite disappointing if it's 1 to 1. But that is the absolute safest. Sorry, disappointing from our perspective because we want to high capacity stadium.
But 1 to 1.5, would that be? So that'd be about what, 56,000 then?
Well, it depends how many.
They do.
But if you say that you start with 52,000 as a base capacity, and then it's down to how many places you're going to have that can be standing. But I think you're right. It would be 56, 57 or thereabouts at 1.5.
I mean, that's better than 52.
Well,
but not as good as 62.
But reality is, the planning submission that's going to go in the summer or autumn or whenever it is, we'll say 52, unless something changes between now and then.
There you go. That's our take on what we've just witnessed from regarding Everton's new stadium and the regeneration of North Liverpool from the Liver buildings here. Big thanks to John for joining me. And go and check it out. Go and check the People's Place website. You can get it from our website if you want. I'm sure John will be doing more of it on Everton Business Matters. Check that podcast out as well. Thanks very much for watching. See you later.
Cheers, guys.